Hi, friend. It's your inner child calling. And they want churros. A new toy. And a new adventure. Or maybe 5. With the bestest besties on Earth. Find your moment at Walt Disney World Resort.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Before we begin, just a warning that this episode contains mention of suicide. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, I'm Adrienne Bain, a producer here at Wonder Media Network, and I'm so excited to be guest hosting this episode of Womanica. This month, we're talking about architects. These women held fast to their visions for better futures, found potential in negative space, and built their creations from the ground up. A woman stands in her kitchen. She traces her fingers over the mosaic-tiled countertop, then looks up through the glass brick windows. Walking from room to room, she makes her way from her dining room to her art studio and breathes a sigh of relief. This home is of her own making, built completely to her liking and where she can live and love freely. Today's Womanican spent her life creating the world she was often denied. Please welcome Amaza Lee Meredith. Amaza was born in 1895 in Lynchburg, Virginia, to a family that went against the grain. Her parents were an interracial couple, which was illegal in most of the country back then. But they found a workaround and purchased adjoining plots of land, where they raised Amaza and their 3 other children. Amaza came from a lineage of craftsmen and builders. As a child, she carefully observed her father, who was a skilled carpenter. She became interested in architecture, and her father showed her the ropes. She watched as he drew up blueprints, carved intricate staircases out of wood, and made model buildings out of cardboard. Amaza excelled in school. In 1912, she graduated from high school and got accepted into Virginia Normal and Industrial Institute, where she could pursue her dream of becoming an architect. However, her father, foreseeing the prejudices she would face, discouraged her from pursuing a career in a white male-dominated field. So, Amaza set aside her dreams and made the long 100-mile journey to Petersburg, Virginia, to study teaching. In one of the classrooms, the teacher walking back and forth in front of the blackboard was Edna Meade Colson. The two started a romantic relationship outside of class. In 1915, a seismic shift happened to Amaza. Her father died by suicide. Despite this huge loss, Amaza doubled down at school and in her relationship with Edna. She rarely mentioned her father's death. Over the next few years, Amaza gained more experience and education. After graduating in 1916, she was assigned to teach in a one-room schoolhouse on a rural Virginia mountainside. When she arrived, Amaza took one look at the simple room and knew more could be done. So, she organized a fundraiser by petitioning the Black community and a millionaire who could match funds. She ended up with more than enough money to build a new school entirely. Furthering her education, Amaza went back to Virginia Normal and Industrial Institute and gained a certificate to teach high school students. But she was still not satisfied. She wanted to accelerate even higher, even if the law didn't allow it. In the early 20th century, it was illegal for Black people to gain a college education in the segregated South. So like many others, Amaza flew north for a better opportunity and found herself in Harlem, right as the Renaissance was kicking off. Amaza attended Teachers College at Columbia, where she studied fine art. In class, she learned about abstract elements and the rising influence of international style buildings. After class, she walked through the city streets. She absorbed the vast range of architecture, art, music, and museum exhibitions, while having conversations that were remodeling Black identity. Over the years, she and Edna sent letters back and forth to each other until Edna eventually joined Amaza and studied at Columbia as well. Amaza soon graduated with a bachelor's with honors and then a master's. After a few years in the big city, the two women decided it was time to make a home. Amaza took that literally. In 1938, Amaza got a teaching job back at Virginia State. She began designing a house for her and Edna near the campus. It didn't matter if she was never, quote, formally trained. Building was in her DNA. Her education and ideas were finally put to work. Within a year, Azurest was built. Amaza designed a one-story building in the middle of a yard and a wall of trees. She built a one-of-a-kind international-styled house made of stucco concrete and glass bricks. It had curved corners and a flat turquoise roof. Amaza and Edna's house was modern, building a world for themselves they often couldn't find. Now nestled in the comforts of their quiet home, Amaza was promoted to the head of the art department. Then, a stroke of luck fell into Amaza's lap. Amaza's older sister, Maud Terry, happened upon marshy and forested land in Sag Harbor, Long Island. Together, the sisters envisioned a vacation spot for middle-class Black families and creatives to enjoy. Prejudices and redlining made it extremely difficult for people of color to purchase and own property, so the sisters jumped at the opportunity. For $1,000, they bought 20 acres of land, which was subdivided into 120 lots. Amaza and Maud created Azurest Syndicate and sold the individual properties to investors. Amaza's fingers itched with design ideas. She rolled out pieces of tracing paper, broke out her compass and T-square, and spent days hunched over blueprints, tracing, erasing, and perfecting. It's unclear how many designs were made, but at least 3 of her blueprints were built. First was a small cottage for Maud, which had an optimal view of the bay, and another cottage for friends. The final one was for her and Edna. As the property was divided into roads and plots, Amaza named several streets after her family and friends, like Meredith Street after herself and Terry Street after her sister Maud. The buildings were unusually bright-colored, single-story ranch-style houses with a flat or slanted roof. Each one was tucked away from the street with gracious lawns and backyards lined with trees, cloaked in peace and quiet. The enclave was named Azurest North. Amaza had built a beachside respite for the Black community, and they came in droves. By the 1960s, celebrities like Langston Hughes, Lena Horne, and Harry Belafonte were summering at Azurest North. When Amaza and Edna weren't socializing, Amaza could be found in her studio, in her house, painting. Amaza and Edna got into a steady rhythm of spending the school year in Azurest South and then taking the long drive to Sag Harbor during the summers. The two settled into a world of their own making. Amaza died in 1984. She was 89 years old. However, her legacy still stands. She is credited with enacting Virginia State's Fine Art Department. Azurest South is listed on the National Register of Historic Places due to its one-of-a-kind structure for the time and place it was built. After her death, the building was donated to Virginia State, and college students still live there to this day. Azurest North is still a popular vacation spot. Today, at the enclave's entrance, is a blue sign that says, "Welcome to Azurest," a historically African-American community, founded in 1947. All month, we're talking about architects. For more information, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Womanica Podcast. Special thanks to Jenny and Liz Kaplan for letting me host today's episode. Talk to you tomorrow.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
I'm Nicola Coughlan, and for BBC Radio 4, this is history's youngest heroes. Rebellion, risk, and the radical power of youth.
She thought, right, I'll just do it. She thought about others rather than herself.
12 stories of extraordinary young people from across history.
There's a real sense of urgency in them, that resistance has to be mounted, it has to be mounted now.
Follow History's Youngest Heroes wherever you get your podcasts.